In today's video, I'm going to teach you how to change Gantt colors on ClickUp 2026. Let's start right from the main workspace area so you can follow along easily on your own screen. After you sign in, head to your team space and open the overview for the space where you manage your tasks. This landing view is a great place to jump into different visualizations of your work, and we'll use it as our launchpad to reach your Gantt chart. In the toolbar, look for the control that lets you choose different views. That's where ClickUp keeps options like List, Board, Calendar, and Gantt. We're going straight to Gantt for this tutorial because everything we're going to do revolves around coloring tasks on that timeline. Go ahead and click View, then choose Gantt. The interface will switch into a horizontal timeline, with your tasks represented as bars that stretch from their start dates to their due dates. This is your Gantt chart. If you've never used this view before, it's essentially a way to see how work is planned across time, how tasks overlap, and where dependencies or bottlenecks might appear. The sidebar on the left shows your task groups and tasks, and the main panel displays those tasks as colored bars on the calendar grid. The colors we're about to configure will help you spot priorities, statuses, and structural groupings at a glance. Next, click on one of the tasks in your chart so we can work with it directly. You'll see a Details panel open where you can adjust fields like priority, time, and status. For this walkthrough, pick any task you're comfortable editing. Something like a personal budget item or a recurring bill works well. If you keep multiple tasks for day-to-day items, you can also click into one of those, such as a monthly line item or a category inside your project. It doesn't matter which specific task you choose. All of the settings we're about to change work consistently across tasks. Before we adjust how the Gantt chart applies colors, set a priority level on your selected task. Priorities in ClickUp typically range from urgent down to lower levels like high or normal, depending on how your workspace is configured. Select the priority field and choose the one that fits your demonstration. I'll pick urgent so we can see a strong visual contrast later. It's also useful to set another task or two with different priorities. For example, mark one as high and keep another as normal. So when we switch coloring modes, you can immediately see how each level maps to a different color on the Gantt timeline. While you're in the task details, add time information. Choose Add Time and enter the time details that make sense for your work. Incorporating this information helps your timeline reflect the effort or duration expected, and it makes the plan more direct for the person responsible. Even though we're focusing on color, accuracy in time fields ensures the colored bars appear in the right places, with lengths that mirror the real scope. In the same panel, you'll often see a link or prompt to read more about time estimates if you want to refine how you track time. If you're interested in deeper time tracking, like comparing estimates with actuals, that's a helpful resource to explore later. For now, we're keeping it simple. Set the time so the Gantt view has meaningful start and end points. Close the Task Details panel and return your focus to the full Gantt chart. You'll notice the taskbars might still look similar at this point, often using a default color. That's expected because we haven't told the chart how to apply colors yet. To do that, look toward the top right of the Gantt view for the Settings or Options icon. Click the Settings button, then choose More Options. In that menu, find the control labeled Color Tasks By. This is where you pick the logic behind each task's color. You'll typically see options like Default, Priority, Status, and List. Default keeps everything the same base color. Priority uses the priority field to color bars differently. Status relies on where each task sits in its workflow. And List uses the list grouping color, so you can see structural groupings across the timeline. Let's start with Status, so you can watch the chart, reflect your workflow in real time. Select Status. After you choose status, you should immediately see a shift in the timeline. Tasks that are newly created, in progress, blocked, or completed will usually appear in distinct workspace-defined colors. If you don't see much variation yet, it's likely because your task statuses are similar. Let's change a few quickly so the effect becomes obvious. At the top of your chart, use the date range selector to focus on the period that contains your sample tasks. Click the date range control and set it to a span that covers the work you just adjusted. This ensures the tasks are visible and the color changes are easy to spot without scrolling. Open one of your visible tasks and mark its status as in progress. Then open another and mark it as completed. Status colors are usually standardized by your workspace. Completed is often a particular color, in progress another, and so on. So when you close each task window, the bars on your chart will visibly change to match the new status. This technique is especially useful when you're presenting updates to a team. A quick glance will highlight which items have moved forward and which are done. When you've applied the status changes you want to demonstrate, close any remaining task windows and return to the full Gantt view. Now, let's adjust the coloring settings again to highlight specific attributes in the chart. In the same settings area, look for options related to highlighting. Click Highlight and choose a condition you want the chart to emphasize. For this example, pick Complete so the chart draws attention to tasks that have reached the finish line. When you apply this highlight, completed bars might appear more prominent or stand out in a particular style, helping you isolate what's finished in a dense timeline. To reinforce the effect, click on a task that represents a completed deliverable, perhaps one labeled as paid or otherwise finalized in your workflow, and observe how that completed state is emphasized in the chart. This isn't changing the color logic itself. It's layering a visual emphasis that complements your coloring rules. With that highlight in place, let's take one more turn through the coloring logic so you can see another way to organize the chart. Go back to the Settings button at the top of the Gantt view, open More Options, and select Color Tasks by again. This time, choose List. Coloring by list makes the chart use the color assigned to each list in your space, rather than the status or priority color. This approach is excellent when you want to distinguish different collections of tasks, such as separate projects, categories, or functional areas, across the same timeline. As soon as you select List, the bars on the Gantt will recolor based on the list each task belongs to. If your space uses consistent list colors, this becomes a powerful way to visually separate streams of work while still seeing how they overlap in time. To confirm everything is behaving as expected, click on another task that lives in a different list. You should see the color correspond to that list's style. This immediately communicates where the task sits in your structure, even before you read the label. When you combine this with strategic zoom levels, using the date range control you touched earlier, you get a timeline that's both readable and meaningfully segmented. Teams that track multiple initiatives can scan the view and understand which work belongs to which area without drilling into details. Before we wrap up, let's tie these techniques together so you know when to use each one. If you're reporting on progress to stakeholders, coloring by status is typically the most useful because it turns your timeline into a visual status report. Completed tasks stand apart from those in progress or not started. If you're planning daily work and want to make urgent or high priority items, jump out. Color by priority is a smart pick, especially if you took time earlier to set priorities like urgent, high, or normal. If you're organizing a multi-project space and want different streams to be obviously separate, color by list provides that clarity instantly. And if you just prefer a clean, uniform look while you set up details, default keeps everything consistent until you're ready to switch. Highlights add another